Welcome to episode 190 of the Fully In It podcast. Do you know it has one of the greatest impacts on how your day goes, the trajectory of your business, or even how happy you feel in motherhood? It's your thoughts, of course. In this episode, I want to talk with you about how to gently guide the way you think to create the life you truly want for you and your family. You ready? Let's do this. Welcome to the Fully In It podcast with Kate Saffel, a show for powerful moms growing life-changing businesses while showing up intentionally for their families. I teach you how to create a family-first and profitable business in less time by leveraging simple strategy, mom life-friendly systems, and above all, the mindset of going fully in it. You ready? A few months ago, I was chatting with a dear friend of mine whom I've also done business with. And we were talking about my business and everything that I've created in it. And she told me, she was like, Kate, I think the way that you do mindset work is so life-changing for people. And I'd have to agree. Mindset work or thought work or whatever it is that you want to call it, it has truly changed my life. I took some time this week to teach some of those practices to the women inside the Family Fueled CEO Mastermind, which if that's something that you are interested in, it will be reopening for early bird enrollment in August. It is currently the very end of June, so doors will be reopening soon for early bird, and then the next round starts in November, which I know sounds so early. But for those of us who tend to be planners, this is a really great way for you to prepare ahead for the level of support that you want the end of this year so you can finish it strong and all the way into next year. So I was teaching this to the women of the Family Fueled CEO Mastermind, like I was saying, and I just had this moment of realizing what a gift knowing how to manage my thoughts has been for so many years. It helped me when I was deeply struggling in motherhood and so unhappy. It helped me to change my family's story and get us into our dream life, which at that time was traveling full-time around the United States. It helped me grow my business and take it from, being kind of piddly and getting a client here and there to consistent 5-figure months. And now thought work, let's just be clear, is not the end all be all. I still believe that God has a hand and is the one who decides everything in our lives. But at the same time, you have to be the one to bring intentional thoughts to all that you do, because the way that you think influences how you feel. It changes the actions that you take, and that ultimately is what creates your results in life. And if you've been feeling lately like you would love to create some new results in your life, you would love to change your life, you want to live the life that you've always dreamed of, yes, even when this world seems crazy, even when you look around and you think like, is this too much for me to even want? It's not. But the way that you think about it is going to ultimately determine how quickly you get to that life that it is that you want. So as I was telling the mamas on the call, you have anywhere upwards of 60,000 thoughts a day, but I was joking with them about how us overthinking women, I feel like it could probably be double, right? Do you feel that way too? Do you just have like a running train of thoughts moving through your mind at any given time? This is not abnormal. However, the constant thinking can have an impact on your life. And we want to make sure that it is a positive impact, and it is the kind of impact that moves you toward what you actually want instead of keeping you stuck. So like I was saying, we have all of these thoughts every single day, and there can be, just mindless chatter. They can be very intentional and create how you feel, but you have to be the one to bring attention and awareness to them and decide what to do with them. A couple of years ago, I did an episode called Suffering Thoughts, and that may be a really great one for you to listen to if you especially struggle with negative thoughts. You're going to have to really scroll back to find it. I don't have the episode number in front of me. I will link it in the show notes though. Once I get done recording it, I can dig that one up. But that's not going to be our focus today. What we're going to talk about today is what would you need to believe to create the life you truly want? Well, here's the first part of it is you have to actually believe that it is available and possible for you. Here's the thing. You can want something really bad, but if you tell yourself day in and day out that you should be realistic, that it's not really possible for someone like you, or you're too old, or you're too young, or you have kids, you have a house, whatever it is, these limitations that you tell yourself are the reason that you can't have what you want, then that is why you won't have what you want. You will focus more of your energy on why you can't instead of why you can. So you got to really get clear on what are the perceived obstacles that you are putting in your path. You know, it's kind of like if you kept dropping boxes in front of you as you're walking and then you trip over them. It sounds like a silly analogy, right? But that's what we do. We drop the boxes in our own path, right? It's enough that society, the world gives us things that become obstacle in our path, but you don't have to add additional ones in the form of your thoughts. So you want to have awareness around what are your current obstacles? What are you telling yourself are your obstacles? And then what if you just decided to believe that there weren't any? What if, even when there are challenges, you still stay committed to your belief that what you want is possible for you? So when we were making the push to travel full-time, there was lots of obstacles. I've talked about this so much on the podcast, but I know you may be a brand new listener and you're like, I don't know what she's talking about. And so I don't want to leave you in the dark. But in 2020 of all years, let's talk about years full of obstacles. My family and I left in the end of August. We left our house and we went to travel full-time around the United States. And my husband quit his job because my business had grown so exponentially. We went all in on it, and my business was what we funded our family budget with. It's what we traveled with. And it hadn't always been that way. My business had kind of, was bringing in a little income here and there, like maybe $600 a month, sometimes like a $2,000 a month, but certainly not enough to support a family of 5. Even 5 years ago, right, before inflation and all these things that we're currently experiencing. And at the time when we were planning that summer prior, we were planning to make the leap, there were lots of obstacles. For example, we had a camper at that time that we were planning on traveling in, and we liked it very much. We had remodeled the interior because we loved it, and we had traveled in it previously. And so we were all set. We thought we're ready to go. Then we realized it was leaking and there would just be like water streaming in the side. And so we thought, okay, we just need to get this repaired and then it'll be all right. So we took it to a dealership to get it fixed, and it sat on their lot. And then there was another major storm, and it got so damaged, it wasn't fixable. And our insurance refused, we had insurance on the camper. They refused to cover the damage, which was just insane in my mind. It put us in a really interesting position because what do? That was what we were going to use. And so ultimately we had to trade it in. They gave us a really good trade-in, like kind of as a concession. And so we traded it in and we bought a brand new fifth wheel that we actually still have, and we love it. And it was perfect. It was absolutely perfect for our travels. So much better than if we'd had the other one. However, at the time, right, all of this was happening and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how is this going to work? We have to change everything up. We were trying to really save money so that we would have a nice nest egg for the road, just in case, right? Like a a safety net. And things went differently than I thought. So that was one of the obstacles that came up. I had a really slow month the month before Kirk was going to quit his job. I think I only made like $3,000, which at the time was bigger for me, but it was getting in my mind because I was like, I should be growing faster. Like for this to work, I need to be making at least $8,000 to $10,000 a month. And that got in my head. What am I doing wrong? What do I need to be doing differently? So those are just some of the obstacles. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Obviously, there was COVID, right? Like there was lockdowns and issues getting groceries, and goodness gracious, it was just a lot when I look back. But at the same time, we as a family, and especially I, had so much joy dreaming and planning for this life that we truly wanted. And I focused more on that vision and where I was heading and being intentional in my thoughts about it than giving a ton of mental energy to the things that were going wrong in our life that seemed like could keep us from hitting the road. Here is my thought, was that I don't want to give more attention than necessary to these obstacles, because where your energy goes, how's the phrase go? Okay, here it is. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. I didn't want to give a bunch of my energy to problems. And maybe that feels like I'm calling you forward right now, right? Like maybe you're giving a lot of attention to your problems and you need to shift into focusing on what it is you actually want, and being a bit delusional about the possibility of that happening for you. And I know life is hard. Life is full of challenges. It feels tiring. It feels like, is this ever going to happen? But again, this is like kind of the catch-22. If you're constantly focusing on if it can happen and how hard things are and why isn't it happening, you will slow down your trajectory. And I don't want you to get to the point where you give up altogether. So you need to get delusional. You need to build big belief in what it is that you are doing. You need to be single-mindedly focused on where it is that you're heading. And you need to believe that it's available to you, that it's waiting for you, that it's something that is right around the corner. Feel joyful about it. It's there. It's there for you. And you just got to keep taking these steps forward, and then that will become your reality. But you have to take the action. So you've got to write down the vision and then take the steps toward it. This is part of the thought work. So if I were to sum this up for you in a tidy little nutshell, 1, you have to have awareness of your thoughts in general. 2, you want to think about the quality of your thoughts and what you are giving your energy to on a daily basis. 3, you need to believe that what you want, excuse me, that you have to believe that what you want is actually possible for you. And I'm going to add this too, like at a gut level, like you need to feel it in your body. Whatever you need to do to create that feeling, the feeling is going to inspire the actions. And then you need to be taking those actions every day as if what you want is already done. And if you love this kind of conversation, I've recorded quite a few episodes like this. So I would look back through all of my episodes. I'm trying to think, maybe I'll do like a little roundup on my website for the post for this episode. So head to my actual website, and you can do that at happierandmotherhood.com/the-podcast. And you'll find this episode 190, and then look in the show notes, and I will put some really great episodes that will hopefully encourage you into moving toward the life that you want. Because, y'all, the world's crazy, but your world doesn't have to be crazy. You get to decide what you experience. So what if today you took some meaningful action toward it? What if today you called out the thoughts you're having that you know are slowing you down, and you started intentionally believing the ones that will change your life forever? Okay, my love, I will see you on next week's episode.